Hi, I'm Diane Morgan. I am the author of the new cookbook, Salmon, Everything You Need to Know, plus 45 recipes. So what I have on the cutting board are 2 pieces of salmon. This is Atlantic farm-raised salmon that's been raised in open net pens off of Iceland. And this is wild-caught Pacific salmon. This is a king Chinook salmon that was caught off of the Oregon coast. So what's so interesting is if you look at them closely, you can see that the Atlantic salmon has really distinctive fat lines, those white lines that run pretty evenly across the fillet. And even though this is really a high fat content wild-caught salmon, you could see that the fat lines are distinct, but nothing like this. I always think of these as almost like the rings on a tree trunk, and how pronounced and even they are with farm salmon. So I wanted to teach you the technique for pulling pin bones, which is really a nice thing to do as you're prepping a fillet. So I have a pair of needle nose pliers that are dedicated to my kitchen. They don't go into the toolbox and out of it. They stay in my kitchen. And this is what I use to pull pin bones. So the first thing I do is I run my fingers across the fillet to kind of lift the pin bones a bit. And then I just systematically go in. See how they're coming to the surface? And then I go in and pull them out. And it takes a minute to... And I usually have a piece of paper towel right near me, so I can, when I yank it out, I can just offload them to the paper towel. On the farm salmon, you can see this little line of divots. And the pin bones have been mechanically removed from the fish. And actually it's not a bad job in terms of, sometimes I've seen these where they're really hacked up. If the fish is wild caught, typically it's going to have scales on, unless the fishmonger's already taken it off. The way you remove scales is you go against the grain, so to speak. And there we go. And you're just finding the angle in which and you do it slowly so these things don't go flying all over your kitchen. So, to remove the skin from the salmon, you find an edge that's just a little bit detached from the flesh. And that's usually where I start. And I take 2 fingernails and I pull down and hold that.
Okay.
So I keep angling the knife down and I do a sawing motion back and forth to get between the flesh and the skin. Now, I watch fishmongers do this and they're amazing. And you don't have to be amazing as a home cook. You just have to be good enough. And you will be if you keep your knife angled down. And honestly, the duller your knife, the easier it is. Counterintuitive to what we think and what we're told is to always have sharp knives. So, as you can see, even with all my experience, I'm not perfect at this, and I've gotten off the majority of it, and I will go back in and just work from this side to shave off that skin, now that I have most of it off. The primer section of my book is filled with tips like this, so that when you bring a fillet home from the fish store, you are ready to go, and you'll know exactly how to prep it for the recipe you're planning to make.